as many of you know, we have begun discussions and we formed a capital campaign committee and a building committee to look at replacing our cafeteria and music building. But I'm very thankful to let you know that an anonymous donor has offered a $500,000 matching grant to get our capital campaign fund rolling. So I think that deserves a hearty amen. And as I said, I think that is God at work impressing the heart of someone that can make that kind of step forward. So please keep our capital campaign in your prayers. Please think about how you can partner with us so that we hope in the not too near future we can have a groundbreaking for a new building. Thank you so much.
Maywood Academy students? Check, check. Maywood Academy students for song service. We're waiting on you guys. I'm not sure who that is even, to be honest with you. Check, check. Unfortunately, I think that we missed that coordination possibly between the Alumni Association and Maplewood, so I apologize. I'm sorry? I do not believe we have one. So we're going to go actually into the next section, which is the roll call. So if Mrs. Bowers would come on up. And she's going to be kind of the lead on this one because now I'm putting her on the spot. And she's wearing heels. I did say I would put my arm on her earlier.
No matter how high the heels, I can't catch up with Andrew.
How many years have you done this? How many years?
Done this? Roll call? I don't know. I keep saying it'll be the last time I do this because somebody else can do it, and they keep saying, oh, no.
Agreed.
So here I am again. So, in case any of you don't know me, I'm Lois Burkhart Bowers, graduated in '71. Have been back here for a few years, and yes, have been doing roll call for a few years. And you've met Andrew. So this morning, on behalf of the Alumni Association, which, by the way, I'm not one of the officers, but because of the large turnover in either staff or alumni officers and not having a development person, my husband and I were asked to be kind of advisors to the alumni. So we've been kind of back into the role of it as far as organizing this weekend.
Very helpful, too, by the way.
Apparently we missed one step, though. Oh, well. So, this morning, I would just like to say, welcome home, alumni. I always feel like it's a holiday weekend because all the family has gathered together. And it feels so right to have you all home. So we are glad to have you. I know that there are more that keep filtering in. By the time we get to 11 o'clock, we pretty much fill up, but that's kind of the way it goes. This morning we're going to ask for the specific classes like we do in roll call, and you know there's a reason for doing this. We want to acknowledge you. We want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for coming home. We also want to give you an opportunity to see who else from your class or your decade is here. Because sometimes, in fact many times, I see you stand up, look across the gym, and it's like, oh, hi, I didn't know you were here. So we're trying to help you connect. So this morning, we will start into our roll call, and going to ask for anyone who graduated before 1950. We have people who are here who graduated before 1950. I know that there were some around last night. Thank you. I see hands. You don't have to stand. Yes, wave at me, please. So we are so glad that you are here. Thank you so much for coming and spending the weekend with us. We're delighted to have you here.
So for the first roll call, with the class of 1954, 65-year reunion, please stand. Mercy. Would the class of 1959, the 60-year class, please stand? Wow. Praise the Lord. Good return. That's awesome. Praise the Lord. So, would all that have graduated in the class in the 50s, 1950s, in the decade of 1950s, please stand. 1950s, all that were in the 1950s.
And we'll move on into the next decade of the 60s. So the class of 1964 would be 55 years ago. Who do we have from 1964? Oh, a few. Thank you for coming. Then we get to the next one, and I just want to say that when I was a student here, I thought that the 50-year class came back, and they were really old. And now, the last 2 years, it has gotten to be people that I actually went to school with, although it's not my class quite yet. But we were all here and walked the halls together. And I don't think you look so old at all. So the 50-year class, the class of 1969, would you please stand for us? And you can remain standing because we'll ask for everyone out of the 60s to join you. So everyone out of the decade of the 1960s, please stand together.
Thank you. You guys can be seated. The next class we have is the class of 1974, which is the 45-year class reunion. If there's anyone from the class of 1974, please stand. I see them. Very good. Awesome. The class of 1979, 40-year class reunion. Class of 1979. I see some hands waving. Yes. Woo-hoo. Bunch. And if you guys remain standing, actually the class that all graduated in the 1970s, if you'd all stand.
Just as a little note, I graduated in 71, and as at that point, we had been the largest class that Maplewood had ever had go through here. However, about 68 or 78, 79, 80, you beat us out. You were bigger classes than we were, so it got even larger after that. We're glad to share that with you. Okay, moving to the 1980s, the class of 1984. This would be 35 years ago. So 1984. Do we have people here from that class? Yes, we do. Thank you. Please stand. And then the class of 1989, which is a 30-year reunion for you. 1989, who do we have? And you can stay standing because we're going to ask for all of the 1980s, the whole decade of the 80s. Who do we have from the 80s? Look at that, Andy. They're getting younger.
They are. 80s is a great year, especially 80 itself. Yeah, it's the year I was born. Sorry if that's... I'm young, right? Really young. Keep telling me. I believe we are the class of 1994 for the 25 year. Ready to go. I know Jonathan. Yeah, go. Great to have you guys back. Now the class of 1999, which is right here, and I know that many of them are coming later today, but if anyone else from the class of 99. Hey. Hey guys. Awesome to see you guys. Now, the class is all from the 1990s. 1990s, please stand. Woo-hoo.
And we'll go to the year of 2004. We've not only changed decades, we've changed centuries. So the class of 2004, do we have anyone back for that class? Oh, thank you, thank you. Class of 2009. And then we are going to ask all of those that graduated including the year of 2000 up through 2009 to please stand. Some of you just did.
The class of 2014. Okay, the class of 2014. I think that's no one. I think we scratched that one. Wow. Happy for them anyways, right? Then we have the graduates. Oh, I'm sorry. For the graduates for 2019, do we have anyone that first return? Please tell me yes. Woohoo! To each of those, I would say welcome home again, too. Welcome. This is home. So now if we have the classes standing for 2010 through 2019, if you would please stand. 2010 to 2019.
So current students, you need to listen now. I know we've been directing this to all the alumni, but I'm going to ask for the class of 2020. You will be the newest ones. Please stand. And just so the rest of you know, I believe there are 33 in that class. So it's a nice sized class, but we will miss that many after they graduate. So we are so glad you are all here. We're happy to acknowledge your presence, have a good time, spend time together. And again, we just want to say, welcome home.
People keep coming in, so I'm just going to delay this because the more people, the bigger the offering. Lois just said something. What? Anybody here before 1950? Did anybody stand? There was a couple that stood. I'm going to read to you a letter that we received. Maya and Lul, if you guys just want to sit right here. Come on up, Lul. letter was written on the 16th of September. It says, "Greetings. This is Gene Saunders Weiserman from the class of 1939. Just checking in. I don't know if any of my classmates are still alive or not, since I was the youngest in the class. There may not be. When I finished Maplewood Academy, my folks were not financially able to send me to Union College, so my mom, who had been a teacher, said I should go to Moorhead Teachers College. 2 years later, at the age of 18, I taught a little country school fairly close to home for $80 a month. Saved enough to go to college as I lived at home. I decided that a little country school wasn't for me. Told my mother I'd be back in the fall to go to Union, and went out to Oregon, where my sister was. The young people there were going to Walla Walla, so I went to Walla Walla instead of Union. When harvest ingathering in the fall, who remembers ingathering? Yeah, I talked to some students, had no clue what ingathering was. Hurricane Hugo, that's the big one. I raised money for Hurricane Hugo. They were ingathering in the fall, and where I went to pool halls soliciting money, and there was this man named George. He stood close to the door to watch out for me, and the rest is history. We were engaged during Christmas vacation and married in June, and George started medical school in Loma Linda immediately. We worked in Thailand from 1960 to 1969. We were airlifted out of Vietnam when it fell, and we've lived in Loma Linda ever since. George practiced orthopedic surgery for years. I taught medical technology at the White Memorial Hospital and in Thailand. When we moved to Loma Linda, I went back to school some more. We have been married for 76 years. Yeah. Amazing. At the age of 96 and 97, when asked how we're doing, George says, "We are still on the planet. We love each other, and we love the Lord. May He come quickly." I have a request. If somebody lives in Southern Cali, come see me, catch me here today. I want you to go visit her. Go visit Jean and George. I want to go, but I'm not in Southern Cali. I just want to meet this lady. How incredible. How incredible. What a story. Inspiring story. So today for our offering, I'm going to let Maya talk to you in Louisville, and then we'll take up our offering. Maya?
Good morning. My name is Maya Bacon, and I'm a freshman this year. I'm the 5th generation of my family to attend Maplewood. I'm really liking it so far. I'm glad I get to go. So I'd just like to thank all of you for everything you do for us. Thank you for the thousands of volunteer hours that are given each year, and thank you for the financial donations that allow us to buy a bus for field trips and to keep our buildings fixed up. The worthy student funds you give are especially important as many students need those funds to be able to afford to stay at Maplewood. So once again, I'd just like to thank you for your generosity of time and money.
Happy Sabbath, everybody. I'm also here to thank you all for your generous support of Maplewood Academy through all these years. My name is Lowell. I'm a senior here at Maplewood Academy. And I just want to say thank you for all the support. It wouldn't be possible for me attending this school without your financial support and the work is still for me. I've been here for 3 years now, and I can honestly say I've grown so much as a person, as a man. I've gotten so much closer to Jesus. Like, before I came here, I barely had a foundation in my spiritual life, but these 3 years has definitely changed me so much as a person. And again, it wouldn't be possible for all of you here. So thank you so much for being here at the Academy.
It's why we do what we do. I wish I had time. Maybe I do. All 92 kids get up here just like they did and tell you thank you. somewhere printed, you'll see that last year you guys, the alumni and friends, gave $388,000 this last school year. Those numbers came from me, and then I realized they were wrong, because agency giving is in a different category. There was another $24,000 that you guys gave. So you guys actually gave $412,000 last year. We can't thank you enough. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We're going to have prayer, and then there's going to be some beautiful music while we take up the offering. And the offering today goes to a worthy student.
Good morning. My name is Linda Vigil. I'm the Bible teacher here at Maplewood Academy, and one of my responsibilities is also to plan our yearly mission trip. Imagine with me this morning if we had the opportunity to follow Jesus Christ as he walked into villages. As I was looking this morning in the Bible, thinking about what he would do, I thought about the fact that we would see him feeding people. We would see him serving them somehow. We would watch him as he healed people. We would watch him as he taught people. We would be changed because we were there. And we learn from the lessons of watching Jesus, and as his disciples have shared that. Ellen White, in the book Ministry of Healing, talks about the method that Jesus Christ used. Christ's method alone will give true success in reaching the people, she says. The Savior mingled with men as one who desired their good. He showed his sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, and won their confidence. And then he bade them follow me. There's a need for personal ministry. That's what Jesus shows us. And every single year here at Maplewood Academy, it's a great privilege to watch our students serve in multiple different ministries, whether it's music, whether it's in the classroom, reaching out into the community in our assist program, whether it's watching our students as they interact with other teams as they play, or whether it's in the position that I get to plan with the kids, and that's the mission trips. You're going to be seeing some pictures right now of our mission trip from 2018 when we went to Puerto Rico. We are returning this year to Puerto Rico. Ironically, in 2017 is when they had the major Hurricane Maria that hit them, and hit them hard. Well, now they're in the midst of hurricane season. Tropical Storm Karen just did a number on causing extreme flooding. There's a need, and we get to go help meet the needs the way Jesus would do it. And so when we're doing this, it's fun to watch our students as they work hard, because believe me, they work hard. But you know what? They don't complain. If they complain, someone else will say, that's nothing, you can get over it. But the thing is, they don't complain. They get sweaty, they get dirty, but they play hard, they play with the kids, they get to know the adults, they form friendships with them. It's a really good aspect of our mission trips. And I love being able to watch that. You know, many times when I come back from a mission trip, I'm tired, but I'm restored. These are some pictures of our group as we worked at one of the Adventist youth camps that had gotten hit pretty hard, but we had to do some work for them. It's interesting still watching the leaves come back on the trees. We did a lot of painting and so forth 2 years ago. We also helped a local church, and that was a beautiful thing. That church wasn't even on our bucket list of things to do when we got there. But one of the church members came and said, "Do you guys think you have any time to help us?" And man, yeah, we definitely want to help you. They didn't even have electricity yet. And so they were running by generator from ever since the hurricane had hit them. And so we painted inside and out. So this year we're going to go back. And just recently, actually Thursday, I spoke to the individual that we work with on these mission trips, and he had made a call to the Puerto Rican division to talk, or to their conference, to talk to them about what could we be doing. And they said, "We want you to come, but right now we're not sure what our needs are fully going to be because of the storms that are hitting us." And so we potentially could be working on the small island of Vieques, which is off the coast of Puerto Rico, at one of the Adventist church schools there that got hit in 2017 and now in 2019. They need some help. We're going to go help. There are communities there that have never gotten any help from the first hurricane. I just saw a statistic not long ago. On one side of the island, over 30,000 people still have plastic tarps as their roof. You know, in our country, we can't imagine that. And so we want to go there. We want to be able to make a difference. The last pictures that you see right here are probably the most favored in my mind, because this was the church that we miraculously painted almost in one day. inside and out. And the church members thought we had done the best work ever. And we were treated like kings and queens. And they gave gifts to all the students. They made a special meal for us. But we wanted to help them. And we made a difference. And so this year we're going back. And on Sunday morning, we have our pancake fundraising breakfast. Would you please join us? Because that fundraising breakfast helps the students in the cost that they have in going on this mission trip this year to Puerto Rico. This conference has wonderfully supported us. I know many of you alumni, even if you don't live here, have supported our mission trips. I thank you. We want to make a difference, and you help us do that.
I just want to say that Melissa and I were fortunate enough to go on that mission trip in 2018 with Linda and the Maplewood students, and man, what a blessing it was to go along on that trip. It was very impactful for a couple of reasons. One, we got to go along and serve through Maplewood Academy, to serve the people in need, and the second reason is we got to learn and get to know the students in such an intimate way, to see their inner beauty just shine when they donate their time for spring break to go over and help other people. So it was just an amazing experience. So thank you, Linda, for that. I do want to provide just a little bit of an explanation and give credit where credit is due, possibly. If you see in your program, some of the mathematicians out there probably raise an eyebrow. You see Ryan Chafee, class of 2000, son Corey Chafee, class of 2020. Yeah, Melissa and I started early, but not quite that early. Every time I come back to Maplewood, I feel a little bit younger when I step on campus. This year, it finally happened. Credit was given to me for all that time. I was bumped from the class of 95 to the class of 2000. So justice has been served. I don't know if it was just no wrinkles that I have or just the unique patented way that I feather my hair, but I feel good about that. So, sorry, class of 2000, you look this old. All right. Our scripture today is John 15, 11 through 15. And this is doubly impactful for me as well, because as a law enforcement officer for almost 20 years now, who's had to bury a couple colleagues, we often use John 15, verse 13, which says, "Greater love hath no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends." But I'll read the entire verse here. John 15, 11 through 15 says, "These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you."
Can you bow your heads for prayer? Dear Jesus, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you that we can gather here and praise you. Please help the sermon today to bless each and every one of us. And please help the rest of the alumni activities. Help us be safe and have fun. In your holy personal name we pray. Amen.
guys have some empty seats near you, could you point? There's a bunch of people in the back, and I don't want them fainting. There's a lot of empty chairs up here. There's 3 over here. There's about 6 there. You're welcome to stand in the back. We charge a small fee. I'll come by with a bucket in a few minutes. But there's a lot of seats up here. The choir apparently is kind of scattered around and going to go sit with their friends. So please come forward, have a seat, because Mr. Heinrich, he is long-winded, okay? So come find a seat, please. Lots of chairs up here, lots over there. Thank you.
Trust me, this brother will collect those fees too, so be mindful. Every year, we take the opportunity to recognize an individual or a couple as the alumni of the year. And this year, as we as an alumni board spoke, I believe each person had a specific and personal story regarding this alumni. No exception for myself as well. But it's no further ado, here's the presentation of our alumni of the year. Our alumni of the year were born in Colorado and Minnesota, respectively. He was born into a family in Boulder, Colorado, and she was born into Maplewood alumni family in St. Paul, Minnesota. During her high school years, she wanted to attend Maplewood, but due to family circumstances, she was not able to. She ended up graduating from St. Paul Central, and he from Campion Academy. They attended Union College, where both decided to go into the ministry of secondary education. They met on a ski trip to Colorado, began dating, and eventually were engaged to get married. Right after they graduated from Union College, they went to St. Paul, Minnesota, and were married in June of 1968. A few months later, they began their ministry at Platte Valley Academy in Shelton, Nebraska. He was the boys' dean and eventually also taught Bible, health, and physical education, while she taught algebra part-time and additionally taking care of her children, Doug and Brenda. Who were born during the 11 years of service there. In 1979, they were offered a call to leave the windswept plains of Nebraska and come to the north of the land of 10,000 lakes to teach at Maplewood Academy. He again taught Bible and was a counselor, and she taught algebra and served as register. He barely survived his stint at Maplewood, and he almost was killed in a garage fire in their home during the first year here in Hutchinson. But after 3 weeks in the hospital and at home, recovering, he came back to the classroom where both of them had a very productive and meaningful 16 years of service at Maplewood. They both became known amongst the students who passed through the doors of Maplewood Academy as energetic, kind, compassionate faculty that had their heart in the best interest of their kids. And yes, the pun is intended, I will say. Through their enthusiasm for the topics they taught, ding, ding, ding for those of you who took algebra class, and their interactions with students in the classroom and out of the classroom, and faculty families, town trips, supervision, and many other activities, they demonstrated the love of God for each student they passed through the halls of Maplewood Academy. Even after they left Maplewood Academy for Union College in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1995, where they were counselors and did spiritual training groups, they continued and continue to work with and encourage and perform weddings and stay involved with the Maplewood Academy graduates from in that institution. Even though neither of them attended Maplewood Academy, she always said that God had rewarded her 4 times over for the years that she had missed at Maplewood, with 16 years of teaching and mentoring students on this campus. It is my distinct privilege to introduce to you the Alumni of the Year, Stan and Angie Hart. If the family would please come up as well. I'm asking that you guys would speak just a little bit, if that's okay.
Well, thank
you. I mean, it sounds, yeah, have a seat. It's very undeserved. I was really looking forward to seeing who was going to be honored this year. And lo and behold, people who never attended Maplewood, but we have the great privilege of being here 16 years. And when we see so many of you people we know, we have just the most wonderful memories of Maplewood. And we're so proud of so many of our graduates who are on the platform. And the Ryan, I won't give you a break. But it's, you know, just to see young people that we've had in class still active in the church, loving God, loving people, it's just, that's the way we are honored deeply. So thank you very much. It sounds a little trite. We certainly don't deserve this, but I guess we'll take it. So, okay. Thank you.
I have to speak one more thing to this. As we sat around, we had everything from teacher, friends. They performed our wedding, performed a baptism. For my wife and I, it was Prepare and Enrich before we were married, so premarital counseling. They have touched thousands of lives. So thank you again, Stan and Angie. We are extremely blessed to have you guys as our Maplewood Academy family.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michelle Oman Morrison, and I'm in the program all by myself, and I'm not singing by myself today. I'm from the class of 79, and kids, this goes so fast. All of a sudden, you're here, and you have families, and you have children, and then you become grandparents, and maybe even great-grandparents. I got to tell you, before I keep on going and I forget my friends that are here with me, they're both from my class. Pam Rudolph Wilkinson was probably my very first friend, and when I arrived, and I was not an Adventist. I don't know if a lot of my classmates knew that when I came. And she and I just bonded immediately, and I know that part of the reason I stayed here was because of making that friendship with Pam. And we ended up singing together, and I never really sang before I came here either, except for in the back seat of the car. And I would sing really softly with my dad and harmonize in the back. And my sister was always the one that would sing out loud, and I didn't really think that I could. And she grabbed me, and we had what we called action teams back then. They were student-driven little heritage singers, if you guys know who they are. Little groups, and we would have microphones and pretend we were big stuff and go around to all the different churches in Minnesota. And I got to sing with Pam. And then I ended up dating and marrying the guy that was in the group too. And we ended up having a future that I got to tell you, especially you kids that are still in these pivotal, huge years, the fruit of your lives now get started in all the decisions that you're making here and in the next several years, especially these next 5 to 10. They will determine the outcome and the fruit of your lives when you get to be where I'm at, with gray hair and wrinkles and however many pounds more than I was back then. Beside me is Judy Kraft-Weir, and she came our junior year from Campion. And so now I'm where she used to live, or close to it. And we ended up suite mates in college, and she was usually playing the piano for choraliers, and she did that a lot. And I don't think we ever sang as a trio back when we were here. So we're going to sing for you today, but I just want to encourage and thank Maplewood for changing my life, for giving me a family that I wouldn't have had, a direction in life. It's one of those pivotal times. Stan and Angie, they came the year after we were here, but they were there for a pivotal time in our marriage. 3 kids in, and we had 3 to go, and they've been instrumental and family to us ever since, and thank you. Couldn't be better people to represent Maplewood. We're going to sing Make Me an Instrument of Our Peace, or Thy Peace, and that's part of what we are as ambassadors from Maplewood. We all go everywhere in the world, and it's so fun to come back as a family, but we are truly ambassadors for Jesus, not for Maplewood, not for Adventism, but for Jesus, and to make a difference wherever it is that we are. And one of the things that I have that I never, ever would have had, because I was so shy, is the opportunity for leadership and the ability to stand up, and music gave me that. Being a part of a small school gave me that, and I know that it'll give it to you guys. It'll give you a leg up. You're not afraid to get up in front and talk and tell of your experience and what Maplewood did for you. But I praise God for the Adventist Church, for Maplewood, and for friends that I still have 40 years later.
Our speaker this morning is Keith Heinrich, and he is the oldest brother of mine. When he came to Maplewood Academy, I was about this high, which puts me in the class of 1979 with these fine women here. And so he said this summer, he said, "Do you want to introduce me?" And I said, "Introduce you what?" "Oh, I'm the speaker at Alumni Weekend." But Keith attended Maplewood, graduated in '69. He went on to Union College, and from there married Yvonne. And they set out on an adventure to Canada, to Africa, back to the United States, to Canada, to the Philippines, and the circle came around full circle and retired here close to Hutchinson on I think his kids call it the ranch. And so our speaker today is my oldest brother, Keith Heinrich.
They're about $35 a piece. You have 2 hands, 1 mouth, so that's 3. So if everybody here contributes 3 chairs, it's okay. Well, $100, we'll be covered. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Just a couple of thank yous. Thank you, Trudy, for the introduction. Thank you, Andrew Larson, for organizing the Alumni Weekend for us. And thank you to Linda Vigil for decorating. Some of these objects I recognize a little bit. So, those of you that know me know I'm not a preacher. I'm a storyteller. I love stories. And I can tell some long ones. So I have some questions for you this morning. Why are you here? What motivated you to come back to Maplewood? Did you leave some unfinished business here when you left? Did your parents make you come this morning? Did the dean come by and knock on your door and roll you out of bed and say, hey guys, time to get down to the gym or we're going to mark you absent? Maybe the food in the calf was so good you had to come back for seconds or thirds. Any witnesses? Okay. Maybe you are looking for love in all the wrong places and decided to try Alumni Weekend again. Are you here with me? Yeah? Okay. You wanted to reconnect with your classmates. Or maybe you're from the class of '69. And we're like the proverbial salmon that swims upstream at the end of life, only to spawn and then go back to the elements. I don't know why you came back. I have my own reasons why I'm here, and I'll share with you a little later what they are. You know, there's as many reasons as to why we do things and why we're here this morning as there are people in this room. For those of you celebrating 1 year of your anniversary of your graduation, congratulations. It's good to see old friends again, isn't it? For those of us celebrating 50 years, it's great to see which of our friends still has hair left. And for those of you that are celebrating 75 years, it may be a contest to see who can stand up. Let's see here. I got a thing in my pocket I got to dig out. All right, there we go. Jesus said it best. Let's see here. We're going to get this to work. Maybe. Okay. Shane's going to help me there. Jesus said it best in John 15 and verse 14. Here you go. Did I forget to turn it on? Ah, there you are. Technology. My generation is at the cusp on the other side, not on the side of technology. Jesus said it best when he said, "You are my friends if you do what I command." And in verse 15 he says, "I no longer call you servants, because the servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends." Got to make sure you're here. "For everything that I learned from the Father, I've made known to you." So a couple of stories this morning. I About a year ago, in fact, 1 year ago, I attended my 50th class reunion from Cheyenne River Academy. Any Dakota people here? SRA people? Thank you. You know, some of us went to a different academy by choice, others by choice of others. And I was intrigued to go back. I had not been back in 50 years to any class reunion. And I was wanting to meet up with some classmates and see how they were doing. I attended Maplewood my first year, my freshman year, then I went to Cheyenne River my second year, my sophomore year, and then I came back here for the last two. And it was good to see my classmates. However, there was an apology I needed to make, that I wanted to make, to one of my classmates that I had been carrying around since the summer of 1967. Now, I'll let you figure out how long that is. You see, I had not treated her very well, and I needed to tell her I was sorry. Anybody been there? Just hold your hands down. Don't wave them. You know, at our first dinner reception there at the academy, I looked around the table, and I was disappointed she wasn't there. But you know how it goes when you go back and people start going around the room and telling who they are. She spoke and says, and I recognized her. But I didn't know who she was. She had changed. I hadn't changed a bit in 50 years. In fact, there were several of them that I did not recognize until they spoke, because your voice doesn't change. Your hair color does, let me tell you. I was able to find a time, and I said to her, you know, I didn't treat you very well, and I want to apologize. She looked at me, and she said, I don't know what you're wanting to apologize for. And I said, well, you know, we went out on a couple of dates. Yeah, that's right. She says, I don't remember anything about it. Now, guys, you're with me on this, aren't you? Ladies, not so much, but guys, you're with me on this. I said, yeah, we went out on a couple of dates, and I didn't treat you very well, and I'm sorry. She says, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I can't remember anything about you and I being together, but if you need forgiveness, fine, you're forgiven. Wow. You know, Yvonne and I drove back from Bismarck back home here to Hutch, and my, that was a long drive. My ego was damaged. Guys, I was ruined. I was ruined. You know, later we had a good discussion with her, and we're friends. I sent her a note on Facebook and keep up with her, and she's just a nice person. And I appreciated her very much. So I want you to, second story. Fast forward 1 week, a year ago. I'm in the church on Friday night. And it is Friday night Vespers. The class of 68 had it. And I was greeting people in the lobby like I did last night. Maybe greet some of you.
And this nice-looking woman slipped up beside me, and she said, "Hello, Keith. Do you remember me?" I was a complete blank. So you know how guys do, they try to cheat a little bit. I tried to see what her name tag was. Couldn't see it. And she says, "Keith, you remember me, don't you?" And I said, "Boy, oh dear." You see, I rarely forget people's faces, but I do forget names, so my apologies on that. But I just could not bring it back. She said, "We went out on several dates." Not really. No. I was having flashbacks. You know, with this new revelation, I could feel my blood pressure was going up. And I said, "Oh, dear." She said, "You were my date to the Sadie Hawkins banquet." Oh, man. This lady had my number. It cinched it. She knew, and I did not. Then the thought ran through my mind, what else is this lady going to tell me? Can I get a witness here? I can see some of you are squirming a little bit in your seat. It's all right. A little stress never hurt anybody. So what to do? I said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I just don't remember you. Please share with me your name, and I'll see what's left in the library of my memory bank of those events." She did share with me her name, and we had a very good conversation about the twists and turns our lives had taken after Maplewood Academy. And this morning I want to say thank you to Wendy for opening her library and sharing with me a part of my history. Later I sent her a request on Facebook, and we're friends this morning. Over the past 2 years, I've had a lot of time to think about these two experiences. And what did I learn from them, or what can I draw from them? You know what the first one is? Apologize as quickly as possible. If you've made a mistake, own it and say you're sorry. Now I want to unpack the own it portion just a little bit. My definition of owning it is this: if it's something you have done for which you need to take responsibility for, you are not obligated to own that which has been done to you, either voluntary or involuntary. You see, friends, if you apologize, you will then be able to move on with your life and put the matter behind you. Don't do as I did. Carried around for more than 50 years this need to apologize. Can I get a witness to that? Yeah. Because after you have said you're sorry, you can talk about it. I'm not embarrassed. My wife would be embarrassed, but I'm not embarrassed. Secondly, don't make decisions for others. Let each person make their own decision and then go on from there. Just because I remember an event and how it went down, someone else may remember it differently. This does not mean that I am right and they're wrong, or I'm wrong and they're right. Each of us sees things through our own set of values and experiences. And thirdly, I'm not the center of the universe. Wow. It's very easy to fall into this trap of thinking I am the most important and that everything I do is noticed. You know, it's a very hard day in the life of a child when they come to realize that the universe does not revolve around them. And sometimes that child is 70 years old. Really? I am not, okay, the center of the universe. And number 4, and which is my last point for this section, is friendship is dynamic. In order for a friendship to flourish, it requires a continuing relationship and an investment of time. To do otherwise leaves a friendship just a chapter in our book of life. It's history and not much else. Even though we may have had strong feelings that resulted in a very warm friendship, it is a one-way street unless there's ongoing contact, which leads to positive relations. And a vibrant friendship requires communication. One of talking to your friend and listening when they talk back. Watching TV and responding to your friend with a yes or a no or a grunt or a nod is not communication. One of the requirements of good communication is that we don't keep score. As I look around the auditorium this morning, I see some empty seats, and there's not so many of them, but there are a few. My class, the class of 69, had 60 graduates. We sat in the rows up on the stage. The auditorium was packed. It was hard to find a vacant seat. Class of 2020, Lois said this morning, has 33 students. Great. By the way, we do hope all of them will graduate in May. The empty seats that I'm referring to are those seats that those who used to come faithfully to the Alumni Weekend program, those who are no longer with us. I do miss seeing Dr. Gordon Franklin, who faithfully came to Alumni Weekend every year. Many times he was the oldest alumni in attendance. About a year ago, I saw a trailer on TV for a new show that was coming out by the name of God Friended Me. Any of you seen this show? Now, don't tell me I'm alone on this story. Andy, Andrew, thank you. Yeah? I watched the first episode where God sent a friend request to Miles, the star of the show. Miles was perplexed at what to do with this friend request. Are you with me? You get a request from God, what are you going to do? Accept? The show is based on life stories of how God sent messages to Miles and the other cast members of those who were in need or hurting, and left it up to them to find ways to help them. I have discontinued watching the show because of the direction the producers of the program chose to go in depicting God. However, the question that captivated me in the first place was the title. God friended me. So I pose the question this morning to you. Has God friended you? I'm waiting. Amen. Hey, there are somebody here. Yeah. What are you doing with his request? Our Bibles tell us that he sent a friend request written by John in a little different way when he said, "Behold, or here I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me." This is John's way of saying, God friended me. Many of you are my Facebook friends, and I enjoy seeing your posts and keeping up with how life is treating you. Several of my friends are struggling financially, health issues, family changes. So I have a question this morning. How do you unfriend somebody? Now, before you jump up and say, I know, let me flesh this question out a little bit. It's not that I don't know the steps. I've done so with several who have become irresponsible with some of their posts. My question relates to those on my list of friends who have died. I don't really want to unfriend them. They're still my friends, right? It's just that their library is closed. For now. And to Maplewood students, this will happen to you. If you were to look at our annual from 1969, you will see it was dedicated to class members, help me out, Jeff Hutchins. Jeff was a class member of ours, and if I remember right, he got killed in a car accident the summer of our junior year. He should be here with us this morning, but he's not. So what do you think? Facebook followers and peeps? Should I post happy birthday greetings on a friend of mine who has deceased? How many think I should? How many don't think I should not? How many are sitting on their hands afraid I'll call on them? Yeah. This past week I did post a happy birthday greeting on one of my friends' Facebook, who she passed away 2 years ago, and I was reminded by another friend, hey, do you know that she died 2 years ago? You might want to take down your happy birthday greetings. So I did. But it begs the question, what do you do with your friends? You can tell me later if you think. So, back to the question I posed at the start of my presentation. Why do you enjoy coming to Alumni Weekend? By now, you probably have a good idea and a reason as to why I do. It's because of friends. Plain and simple. We are friends. I might not remember your name, but we're friends. However, there's a second reason. And it's the library. Anybody have a library? Anybody have a library? We all have libraries. Mine is full of many shared experiences. We all know the joy of going into a library and sitting down in a comfortable chair and reading a great book. Besides book reading, many of you have had some interesting experiences in the library other than reading. Can I get an amen? Or are you? Yeah, okay, there's a few. You know, when I open my library of this room, where we're gathered together this morning, I see a huge group of friends. I don't know them all by name. The room is packed. Every seat, hard as they may be, is occupied. And standing along the walls, like they are this morning, are the alumni of Maplewood Academy. These are the alumni who are not here this morning because of various reasons. Some are sleeping until Jesus comes. You see, I see many from the tribe of Anderson and Johnson and Aulick and Morrison, Christensen. Wow, a bunch of them, aren't there? How about some Bergharts and Jules and Haugens and Sandstroms and Smiths and Wiltseys and Fishers and Swansons? And we could go on down the list. If I have missed your family's name, just include it. They're here. However, there is coming a day. Can I get a witness? However, there is coming a day, my friends. A very special day when everything will be new, including my hair and a few other things. A day when Jesus will come and bring back to life those who are deceased. Then this very room will not be able to contain all of the alumni of Maplewood Academy. We will need a much bigger room. Oh, that our Jesus will come quickly and make all things new. This morning, my hope and prayer is that you have accepted God's friend request, and that you're looking forward to that day when Jesus will come. Would you stand with me as we sing a song that's one of my favorites? We have this hope.
Hello. All right, so I was back there, and Tim Vigil was coaching me that you can't just go up and pray. And so I figured I'd share a little warm thought from when I was younger. I'm the youngest of 9 that have gone through Maplewood, and I remember my brothers and sisters having Maplewood friends over all the time, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to go to Maplewood. It's going to be so fun and exciting. And it felt like it took forever for me to get to Maplewood, but it was over in like a blink of an eye, but the moments will last forever. So please bow your heads with me for closing prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you for the words Keith shared with us today, and for a school like Maplewood Academy where so many have shared such wonderful moments, not only growing academically, but spiritually. A place where many friendships have been built with you as a cornerstone. We are blessed to be able to come together to reminisce about how you have led us over the years. Please continue to be in our hearts and bless the fellowship meal that has been prepared for us. Amen.
Amen.
I ask that you guys take special note of, too, this afternoon at 3 o'clock, if you were in choir or choraleers, and I think there's other names that were used for that as well, I'm asking that you join here at 3 o'clock for practice, and at 4 o'clock will be the program. Then also this evening is sundown worship, I believe at 7 o'clock. 7:30 is the business meeting following, and basketball games should start sometime around 8 o'clock. Oh, I am so sorry. It is at the church at 3 o'clock. Thank you, Mrs. Boldemichael. So the church at 3 o'clock for practice, 4 o'clock is the actual concert. Thank you much, and have a great Sabbath.
Thank you. Pictures.
Oh, and pictures. And pictures as well. Do not forget the pictures. Honor your classes. Please be here at the dated time on the back or in the bulletin. Honor class pictures.